So you want to live frugally. Yay! But right now, life is kind of rough and you can't quite focus enough to make frugal living decisions. Well, I got you. I have 9 tips that will help you focus your mind and focus your life so that you can get back on track with your frugal living journey. You can do this. Welcome, I'm Amy, and here at Frugal Over 50 I give you tips and tools for frugal living. Y para mis amigas de habla hispana, bienvenido. El día de hoy vamos a hablar de cómo apoyarnos en nuestras vidas frugales. Number 1, do something practical. Now I'm not talking making major life decisions here. I'm talking something practical that you can do right now in the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the next hour. Something like cleaning the bathroom, decluttering that one drawer. For me, it always goes back to baking bread. I love to bake bread so much, and the other day I was having difficulty focusing, as many of us are these days, and I baked a loaf of bread, and it brought me back to my center and back to who I am. You may think, well, that's not me. I love to do X. What do you do on a practical level just to bring your mind back into focus when you cannot focus? Because that's what we're really talking about today. We're not talking about the times when you need 10 tips to live frugally right now. We're talking about when you can't get to those 10 tips because your brain is so overwhelmed with the hard times that you're having. Do something practical. What is it for you? For me, it's baking bread. Tell me yours in the comments below. Number 2, resist the urge to be productive. One of the biggest signs that I am in a crisis of focus or emotion is that I feel the desperate urge to be productive, to do all the things, to get everything done, to make all the decisions, to do everything now. And if you find yourself in a similar position where you feel like, I have to make this decision right now, I have to do this thing right now, it's almost certainly true that you do not have to do that thing right now. And it's almost certainly true that that one thing will wait another 5 minutes or another 10 minutes or another day, maybe even another month. There's something that is nagging at you right now to get done. And if you really think about it, you don't need to be productive. In fact, that desperate, panicked urge to be productive may be a sign that it's time to do the opposite and really just sit down and take care of yourself for a while. I know this is not common advice on the frugal living journey, but when you are in some sort of emotional state where you can't focus, don't be productive. Number 3, get help from friends. And this is where communities like Frugal Over 50 really come into play. We can help each other. It's possible that after you have done something practical and then sat down and not been productive, you realize that there are a couple of things you need to make decisions about or a couple of things you need some advice on. And maybe you need a frugal living tip right now. Maybe you also have one to share. So I want to ask you down in the comments to ask one frugal living tip question and answer a frugal living question that somebody else asked in the comments, if we can get that conversation going. And at least share your favorite practical frugal living tip that's easy to implement anywhere in the world, any time of day or night. Number 4, find encouraging news. Now, I know that the words encouraging and news don't always seem to go together, but I'm talking about finding sources of information that really bring you joy and peace and the information that you need in order to make decisions about your life and in order to live your life as best as possible. 2 of my very favorite sources of information are right here on YouTube. I love to watch the YouTube channel Darling Desi with Desiree Moore. She just did a summer living starter pack that I recommend to everyone here on this channel. Go and watch it, whatever your age, wherever you are in the world. You will find something that you can incorporate into your frugal life. I also love the YouTube channel from Adam Ragusia, who does journalism all about food and food preparation and food history. I love it so much because I love everything about food, and his channel gives a wealth of information along with practical tips. So if you have a favorite wonderfully encouraging source of information, go back down in the comments now and tell me your favorite encouraging source of information. Now I have to say that I hope that you find this channel an encouraging source of information. Please give this video a like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing. We'd love to have you here. Let's get back to the tips. Number 5, limit discouraging news. I've just asked you to increase your sources of encouraging news. Now limit your sources of discouraging news. That may be a tricky proposition because if you just turn on your regular TV or go onto your basic homepage online, you're going to find some discouraging news. It's true that things are going strangely all around the world, and whenever you are watching this, whether it's right now as I'm recording it or 1 or 2 years later, you're going to be saying, yep, things are going strangely around the world. There's always some place where there's turmoil, and it may be in your very own home, or it may be across the planet from you, or in the next town over. There will be plenty of discouraging news. If you are in a state where you're having difficulty focusing on your life and your frugal living journey, and you're in a real state of not knowing what to do next, limit the discouraging input, limit the unhappy input. You can give more to the world to benefit the people you love and ultimately to benefit the planet when you limit that input and take care of what you can take care of right now in this moment. Because I bet as you're watching this right now, wherever you are, I bet you're feeling sort of okay, or you're feeling a little bit encouraged, or you're feeling just a little twinkle of something positive. So limit the sources of discouraging news and bring in more encouraging news. Now, along with this, we get to tip number 6, which is to limit social media. Especially in the summertime, that's a little bit easier to do. People tend to be out and about a bit more. So limit your access to social media. If you have some social media accounts that you have been following because you felt like they were helping you, but they no longer seem to be helping you, it's okay to unfollow them. They'll still be there if you decide to follow them back again later. If you find a new social media source that feels quite encouraging and you really want to check in just for that, go ahead and do that. It may also feel wonderful to just step away from your phone, step away from your computer for a while, and just be in nature, or just be in your house, or just be out and about with friends and family. Limit social media. Number 7, use kind self-talk. This can be really tricky to do when you're in a state of mind where everything feels like a crisis all the time. And that's often where we live when we're struggling with frugal living in one way or another. It feels like a big crisis. How would you talk to a friend or a loved one if they were in the same situation that you are in now? How would you speak to them? Speak to yourself internally in the same way. I like to give myself a pep talk and say, I'm so proud of you. You're doing so well. You're making so many courageous choices. And I cannot believe the progress you've made in life. Look at all of the amazing things that you've done. Yeah, you made some mistakes, but you know what? That's what makes you human. If you need a script for kind self-talk, feel free to go back and rewatch this and memorize it and learn how to tell it to yourself, because you deserve it. Number 8, respect each person's journey. And I want to give credit here where credit is due. I was watching a recent video by Dawn from Sensible Living at Money Mom. And if you follow her channel, you know that she was recently in a quite serious car accident. She is recovering at home and expected to take a recovery process of several months. And she was sitting there with a neck brace on, recording videos to encourage us. And I hope, Dawn, if you're watching this, that you take some time to really rest and heal, because we need you healthy, Dawn. But Dawn pointed out that sometimes we look around at other people on their frugal living journeys, on their life journeys, and we make judgments about who they are and about what they can do, what they can't do, what they should do. And she was making this point, which is that we need to respect each person's journey and respect the fact that we don't really know each other. We don't know what people are going through. And if you see somebody out and about doing something that you wouldn't do, it's possible that they're doing something that's terribly wrong. Of course it is. But it's also possible that they're just struggling. It's possible that if you yourself are struggling on your frugal living journey, it's because of many forces outside of your control. And it's important that we respect not only ourselves, but each other's journeys, and give encouragement to each other as much as we give encouragement to ourselves. So thank you, Dawn. Take care of yourself and heal. Number 9 is share. This goes back to tip number 3, getting help from your friends. Here, you're going to give help to your friends. If you didn't do this earlier, go down in the comments and give us your favorite practical frugal living tip. And make it something quite simple that somebody who is really in a state of crisis or not sure what to do next, something they can do right now to help calm and center and ground each person's frugal living journey. What's your favorite tip? I can't wait to hear. Today's quote comes from one of my favorite YouTubers, Dr. Ramani. Now, Dr. Ramani doesn't talk about frugal living. She talks about escaping narcissistic abuse. And she said this about that: I'll be darned if somebody who is toxic is going to be the reason the most beautiful part of myself gets turned off. And I thought, you know what? This applies so well to our frugal living journeys. She's not trying to make it about frugal living. I get that. How about if we shape it a bit more generally for our frugal living journeys and say this: I'll be darned if a situation that is troublesome is going to be the reason the most beautiful part of myself gets turned off. Wherever you are on your frugal living journey, whether you're in a troublesome situation or whether you're living at absolute peace right now, take the next step. Whatever that next step is for you, and know that you are not alone, and I am so proud of you. Live frugally, change your life, and together we will change the world. I can't wait to see you again soon. Nos vemos pronto. Bye!